Welcome to episode 317 of Game Deflators podcast. My name is John, and I'm joined by Ryan.
Hey, everybody, here at the Game Deflators podcast, we'd like to talk about games. We've recently picked up games we're currently playing, and we fight for the people in this week's Inflation Deflation Challenge.
So this week we're playing some Red Faction on the PlayStation 2. So definitely some exciting stuff that'll be coming as we talk about, Geomod and blowing up walls and everything else that comes with that game.
Mostly John.
Mostly me. Yeah, I don't think you had an opportunity. Your PS2 was having some issues, so it'll just be me
having issues. Yeah, I'll talk about it some more. But this week, it's Cyber Monday here at the Game Deflators. We're going to talk about all those savings. And then color us surprised. THQ Nordic isn't happy with Epic Mickey Rebrushed sales. And then Xbox is jumping into the handheld bandwagon. But is it going to be enough? And wrapping up all that with our inflation deflation on Red Faction.
And before you jump into this episode with us, you can find us on thegamedeflators.com. You can also find us on YouTube. So if you're watching, thank you. Go ahead and hit the little bell, subscribe, comment. Yeah, hi. You can also find us on all of those great podcast applications that are out there. So you can listen to us, Ryan, ears. We gotta point to our ears now.
Yeah.
And then of course, we're on social media, so you can find us on Blue Sky and Twitter. We are at Game Deflators. I think is what it's noted on Blue Sky. I always forget. And then we are at The Game Deflators on Instagram, Facebook, and Threads. So
I hear people like Blue Sky.
Blue Sky is basically Twitter. That's all it is. It's just people flocked from Twitter to Blue Sky, and it's
as birds are prone to do.
It's there you go. It is the exact same thing. Like
somebody should make one called Flock.
We should, yeah, right in the middle. Yeah, I don't know.
That's it. We're done. Wrap the podcast. We're gonna become social media entrepreneurs now.
Yeah, right. All right, we got to get a coder. No, I mean, dude, it's literally like a carbon copy. It feels like. I'm surprised there hasn't been a lawsuit of some sort. On how it's formatted.
I guess.
I don't know. So I think it was started because of political reasons. People went there, and well, if there's a lot of users there, and there's people that listen to us on there, might as well give them all the good news if that's what they're using exclusively. So yeah, follow us on those channels. Would like to hear from you there too. And then we are doing our giveaway still for this cool coloring book. I'm going to do it sometime this week, and then it'll ship out the following week. So
yeah, get yourself a nice stocking stuffer.
And then per last week's episode or special release episode with Freshbird Games, we're also going to have a code for Speedo Llama that'll be available at some point. So we'll also open up a giveaway for that too. So some fun stuff. Giveaway season, right?
Tis the season.
Also, as we were talking about Cyber Monday and everything else, tis the season for pickups. So you already see the first one there. That's a good one. So my pickups, God of War Ragnarok. $30. Rise of the Ronin, $30. Shadow of the Tomb Raider, Will's favorite website, VGP from Canada. Yep. So I got that on there.
Why do you not already have that?
No, this is Shadow of the Tomb Raider. So it's the third installment, I believe.
I just would have figured you would have had all those games by now somehow.
Brian, I don't buy stuff at release. You know this.
Yeah, I know, but I figure like you probably would have gotten a lot. Like the Tomb Raider games seemed like they would be pretty out there, or you might have nabbed it at like a buy two get one sale at GameStop or something.
I could never find it. So like the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, first off, this is the definitive edition. I was trying to get the original. The original was always like $10, but no one ever had it for like less than 20, or if they had it at GameStop, it was without a case. So I just never picked it up. But yeah, I got this one new. It was 15 Canadian, so I think it came up to like $10 for this, so not bad. Silent Swan, I don't know, never heard of it, but it was like 20 Canadian, so I think it came out to like $17 or $15. So picked up that, and then this one I just got because why not? It's Armalo. I don't know. It's like it says on the back, experience tabletop adventure brought to life in a first true digital board game. I don't know. It was like $10. So
sounds like it's been done before, Armello, but we'll see.
It's got decent reviews and it's sold out on VGP. So I don't know. People liked it, I guess. And I have one more. Give me one sec. And I got this Iron Dragon from Mayfair Games, like
Yeah, what is it?
19. Yeah, we'll go into it. It's
Is it
a.
like a train game?
It is actually. Let me see if I can. I don't want to do it that way because I might mess it up. What year did this come out? Doesn't say, but it's like the 80s, I think. Um, yeah, so that's the fantasy version. They have a whole series of games, starting with the Empire building. So we actually had Rob come over, if you remember, when I sent a message to like you and Thomas and said, "Hey, let's come play some Magic at my house." And you were busy, Thomas was busy. John and Joe, who were going to come over, they ended up, we're not going to come over. It's only like 3 people. So ended up just having Rob come over and we played some board games with my wife. And we played Empire Building, which is a train game of the continental US. And it has all these little dots and then little triangles that represent mountains. You have the US based rivers. And then you also have like major cities and then like smaller hub cities as well. And so the overall concept of the game is to start with 40 million cash and then develop train tracks to each of the respective cities to drop payloads to each of them. So you might have in Boise, they might have sheep, but they have like tourists in New York and they have like sugar in California or in San Francisco. And so the idea is create these train tracks with the money you have to get payloads from one location to the next, similar to kind of like Ticket to Ride, where you have
Mhm.
like you got to get from X city to X city and you build out a train track. Well, this is you have to take a payload from X city and take it to X city to be able to get paid out. That money is then generated to create more train tracks throughout the continental US. And then you just continue basically like taking payloads from city to city, garnering X amount of cash until you cash out, which is 250 million. Iron Dragon is the equivalent to that, except it's a fantasy version. So you have like conductors that are orcs and goblins, and you have to take different supplies from, fantasy city to fantasy city. There's like train tracks where you can go in the Underdark and use train tracks in there. Rainbow bridges, like all these other crazy things that are tied to it. So pretty cool like franchise in general. They have them for like Japan, like with Nippon. They have Australia rails, like South America rails. I think there's one for like the UK. There's one for Prussia, I believe. So a whole ton of them, but it was a lot of fun. I mean, we enjoyed ourselves that much that I was like, screw it, I'm just gonna buy a copy right now. So that's a first edition. That ran me 90 plus tax, free shipping, but you could get like a second edition for like 50 or 60. I would say the first edition's better because they have like these little plastic like pieces that like indicate what the specific resource is that you're taking from one location to the other, versus the second edition is like paper based, so you're like punching out the cardboard. My thought was, hey, cardboard's going to wear down over time. Plastic, I don't have that issue. They do give you a few replacement pieces if you need it. And then with cardboard, you also have the problem where like when you punch it out, you sometimes will tear the paper when it's coming out of that little hole that's kind of pinpointed with little spokes of paper built into it. So opted for a first
Perforated?
edition. Yeah, well, no, it's not perforated. It's because perforated is like it's a whole bunch of them. Usually with like the cardboard in the games, it's like probably 10 spokes that attach from the main piece to the little circles that you're popping out. And I've had tons of issues with like editions where that stuff just tears out incorrectly. No matter how careful you are with it, for some reason it just does. So first edition was the route to go for that. It was a little more expensive, but it's kind of cool because it's a first edition like 80s game versus second edition early 2000s, whatever it may be. So
Okay.
I'm happy with it. At some point, if there's any interest to play it, let me know. We can dive into it. I enjoyed it. I think you would too, actually.
Yeah, I
Uh,
was looking it up there, and then I got distracted. I found that they have a Scooby-Doo edition of Munchkin, so that's something I want in the future. Added it to the Amazon list.
oh, well, there you go. Yeah, you
I like
should give her,
Munchkin. I never get a chance to play Munchkin anymore.
dude. We want to play it, so whenever you want to do it, like let me know. I've got Space Munchkin, Zombie Munchkin, and I think that's it.
I've got Super, regular with 2 expansions, and Cthulhu.
Nice. Yeah, we
I
should
also
totally
wanna
play
get the
that.
40K one. Love that.
Ooh,
That
that'd
sounds
be pretty
awesome.
cool too. Yeah, yeah. I love me some Munchkin. It's good stuff. Like I don't think people realize, like, if you're into D&D and you just want like a quick, fun, like quirky game, Munchkin's like right there.
Yeah.
So, and as far as what I'm currently playing, so I started up Plague Tale Requiem. I did beat AM2R as well. Definitely enjoyed it. I thought it was really good. So definitely a fan of that one. So I would recommend it.
You
And
have to get
then
the Metroid 2 remake for DS. Play that.
isn't this basically the same thing?
Well, I know,
I
but
mean,
then you
this
can
is
compare. You can see
yeah,
Nintendo's version versus the AM2R version.
mm, true, but I could watch a video. Then I don't have to buy it. I could. Yeah. I heard Zero Mission's pretty good too. So I may look in that down the road. That's on
I
the
haven't played
GBA.
Zero Mission. I did get the one that came out on Switch. Dread. That was good.
I heard it wasn't that good.
It was
Like
okay. I
from
mean, Metroid's like, I don't know. Metroid's one of those series that it gets a lot of love and it is like really good, but it's like Super Metroid and Metroid Prime are like the two ones that really stick out. And then all the other ones, like, they're fun for people who are really into Metroid or those style of, like Metroidvania type games. But I think sales wise, like Metroid's always been kind of like not a peak franchise for them. Although I'm hoping Metroid Prime 4 is going to be like awesome.
yeah, I never did dive into the Metroid games like outside of Super Metroid and then this one.
Should
It's
check out the Prime remake. That was really good.
or I could play it on GameCube. Play the original.
You
We'll
could.
see. I could. Good. Okay, so and yeah, so Plague Tale Requiem was a game I started up. I obviously enjoyed Plague Tale Innocence, so gonna look at Plague Tale Requiem. My big thing so far is graphically it looks nice, but then there's I don't know, like in the active environments when you're playing it, like visually it's been kind of choppy in what I've been seeing. So I haven't looked at any reviews to see if that's confirmed anywhere else, but it's okay with that. I haven't gotten too far. I just got past like the first chapter. So starting the second chapter, and the first chapter is like very much a introductory type of deal. You know, you start up the game, it's got all the landscape, you kind of have a few quick controls and jump into a tutorial, and then the title comes on screen. That's chapter one. So started chapter two, and I went ahead and saved it as I was falling asleep. But of course, you can find that gameplay on our YouTube because I will be streaming it. And then the other game, my wife and I went ahead and started up Super Mario RPG on the Switch. So we just got past. You've played it, right? I think you beat it.
No, I played a little bit of it.
So for those that are interested, we got past the forest maze, was where we were. So we jumped past that, and then we went into the next city. And the forest maze, that specific level, I think is like Rose City, if I recall. And there's like swords that are falling from the sky, paralyzing people in place. And so you find this like wacky guy that's like shooting magic swords or knives or something through the sky into this town and laughing about it. And went ahead and defeated him, and then we made our way to this like mole city. I don't remember the name of it. I'm very bad at this stuff, but that's where we are right now. It's not too bad. I do feel it's gonna be short though. I haven't looked to see how long this game takes to beat, but you're supposed to get like 7 stars for the Star Road, and we are already at like 2 or 3, and we've only been playing like a few hours. So yeah, I don't think it's gonna be like terribly long for this game.
Is this your first Mario RPG experience?
I mean, if you don't count Paper Mario games, then yeah.
You've played which Paper Marios have you played?
I
Forget.
played the one on the Wii, and then obviously I messed around with the sticker star one. Um, and then I booted up a long time ago and kind of messed with Thousand Year Door.
Mhm.
But I haven't, I haven't beat it. The RPGs are not generally my favorite for Mario because they
But
don't.
RPG is your genre, man.
It is, but RPG is not Mario's genre. It's more
You
of a
should
filler.
play you should play Paper Mario for your game next year. We're gonna
Mm-mm.
start thinking of our games.
We do, and I've had my eye on a few different titles, so we will see. You know how I am. I've been trying to knock out these PS1 RPGs every year whenever I get a chance. But then there's stuff like Shenmue 2, it's sitting there asking for me to play it. There's also Suikoden 3. Why wouldn't I play it? You gave me that look. Like Shenmue 2, I beat Shenmue 1. I genuinely enjoyed
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I know, but like you were originally thinking about like I'm gonna play maybe all the Shenmue games, and then I thought you weren't as into Shenmue as you were hoping. I thought it was a frustrating experience for you.
It was frustrating for sure, but I'm wondering if Shenmue 2 maybe kind of helps out a little bit. I have the games. I have Shenmue 1, 2, and 3, so I might as well dive into them. That's an
You know what?
option.
Yeah, do that, John. I want to see that happen.
Well, now that you want to see it happen, I don't know if I want to make that happen.
That or play like Xenogears.
Ooh,
I don't even
that
think that
would be.
game's finished. I think that game just kind of stops at some point.
I don't know. Xenogears is one that I've always had my eyes on.
Have you
But
ever
then
tried
there's
Xenosaga on PS2?
dude, my brother beat the hell out of those games. I saw him play it all the time, which is what
Yeah.
deterred me from starting it, but I have them. Uh, there's also like Thousand Arms on the PS1, like some really obscure type RPGs.
Have you played
Bringdean.
any of the Breath of Fires?
I would have to play on Super Nintendo to start that.
Oh no, get the Dragon Quest 2 HD 2D remake, and then I can play it for like a little bit.
Well, Dragon Quest 3's HD remake, 2D remake, or whatever, came out this month actually, or past month, and then next year, 1 and 2 are coming out.
Oh, it was 3 that came out. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why they did it that way. They did. So
Maybe
I
it's
do.
the first chronologically or something. Like maybe 1 and 2 are like the original, and then the sequel, and then maybe the third one is actually like the prequel one, because game orders.
No idea, but here's the thing though. When I do get them, it's going to be PS5.
Oh,
So yeah.
well,
So
maybe I'll have one of those by then.
there you go. So that's when it'll happen. But I got other games, obviously, that I shared that you can borrow when that time comes. So really
Yeah, the
excited
only
about
thing
some of
that
these.
still, it's like it's one of those things. Like I saw a PS5 Pro at Target the other day, just sitting there because people aren't buying them, and it's
Was it
like, well,
a 30th anniversary one or just regular?
no, just
Oh, I
regular.
saw 30th anniversary at Best Buy the other day.
Did you?
Uh-huh.
Oh, I would have bought that.
Well, it was in their like holding section for somebody who had already purchased it. So
Yeah, I would have bought a 30th anniversary one if I saw one, maybe just
yeah.
because that'd be cool. But
Yeah.
the only thing I really want to play is like Returnal. I really want to play some Returnal. I watched a video on Returnal last week, and I was like, "Oh man, I really want to play that game more." That's
I
like the only
really
PS5 game I want to play.
I want to dive into that game again, but I won't be able to like really stream that, I feel.
Oh, and Cyberpunk. I haven't played any Cyberpunk, and I've been waiting for a PS5 to play that, and I bet it'll be awesome on the Pro.
Can always come over here and play it on the PC.
Yeah, like
Just saying. Just
that.
saying.
I'm gonna play a giant RPG over at your house, 30 minutes at a time, once every 2
Yeah, I
weeks.
think and you can come over more often. It'd be great. I should have sent you. There's a link that somebody created for like a budget PC, like not budget. It was a gaming PC, but due to like Black Friday and Cyber Monday type sales, could have got a pretty sweet deal to be honest. Less than a
Yeah.
PlayStation 5. So yeah. All right. Well, that's what I got. What about you?
I got nothing this week for pickups. It's almost Christmas time. Who's buying stuff for themselves? What a shame on you, John. Next up,
I bought for my son and my wife too.
I've been playing Pokemon TCG Pocket. I whooped John 2 out of 3. I don't even think he got a single point.
I got 1 point.
You got 1 point in that
Yeah.
second round. Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
I did.
You flamed me with that. Ninetales is pretty cool. I only just got Ninetales during that fire event, and I haven't really tried to make like a Ninetales deck yet, but it seems pretty cool. I guess
Well,
it's difficult when you burn all your energy.
so yeah, exactly. So that specific round that we were playing, that's my Charizard EX deck that I
Mhm.
played you with. And yeah, all I drew was a Vulpix into a Ninetales into a Ponyta, and then everything else is evolutions in my hand. Hence why
Yeah.
you were able to destroy me so quickly.
Yeah. I I lost a match the other day because a guy like Kangaskhan me on turn 1, and I didn't have anything else on my bench, and I just lost immediately.
Yeah.
Like if you don't have stuff on your bench, like you can lose real fast.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah,
why I
I've
like
been
that's why I
go
like
ahead.
the Wheezing combo or like the Arbok situation. Like if you can get them like the next turn without anything
Yeah.
on the bench, you're pretty solid.
Wheezing is like the best card. The Wheezing Koga wall is just so, and it's like you could just burn so much time and take so many hits, and then just like immediately, like if you have another coughing on the field, just like replay it right over again and just be right back where you were a second ago. And it's like,
Hmm.
I now that I finally got the Greninja, like I've had two Froakies and Frogadiers for like ever, and I have no regular Greninjas. So I only finally got Greninjas because they were in the promo pack. And so
Oh,
I've been
wow.
playing like nonstop wheezing Greninja, and I've just been like, I swear my win rate is like definitely over like 60 or 70% with that deck.
Yeah, that when you busted that deck out and I saw the Froakie or whatever, I'm feeling like, God damn it. Like I just knew right away it was gonna be 2 losses in a row. Um, it's just such a fast deck. And when you threw the Wheezing out there, I'm like, yeah, he's gonna win because he's gonna Koga it back to his hand, throw another Wheezing out in the field, and then just continue to boost up his Greninja, which all that's gonna do is pelt my Pokemon on my bench to kill him.
Yeah,
So it's a pretty
it's
broken
great.
combo. Yeah.
It's so great, and it does really well against Mewtwo's. And since
Yep.
Mewtwo is like the number one deck out there, it can sneak you out a lot of quick wins out of there. And like the Greninja being able to like the fact that you can like shuriken somebody that's like low health right in front of you, and then if they throw in like some base Pokemon, a lot of those are 60. You could get like 2 kills in one turn, like super easy,
Yeah.
and just kind of snake that victory fast, especially if they've got like an EX and then some base Pokemon on the bench. It's like over.
Yeah,
I get a lot of
exactly.
concedes from like some Mewtwo decks, like a turn or two in, where they're just like, ah,
Yeah, and that's my big qualm with this game too. I was telling my wife as she was watching me get my ass handed to me by you this morning, is by turn like 2, you can look at what your opponent has on the field and what you have on the field in your hand, and you can kind of determine from there like if it's a loss or not. Or if you like the second I only played out the matches for the most part. If you I concede the last one because I'm like, yeah, there's no way he's gonna beat me next turn. Um, but that first match, I was like, yeah, you already won. Like I saw what you had on the field, I saw what you were going to be playing, and there was like no chance at all. I mean,
yeah,
when you're throwing up a wheezing on like turn 2, and I can't do much outside of like maybe 60 damage, and then you're bringing out Koga to put it back in your hand, like there's no shot at all at that point. So, and then if you
yeah,
mix in Sabrina's, it's even nastier because you're like, oh, screw you. I'll just go ahead and make you
yeah. Some
force you to bring another.
Sabrinas, or I don't have any red cards in that deck. I did just throw in a Pokedex, which I've never used in like any
I
deck,
don't use
but
it.
like
Yeah.
somebody was I watched this guy Sprangle's Pocket. He does some good content on TCG Pocket, but it actually is kind of nice to be able to see what like your next couple of pulls are going to be. And it's nice to like in like the deck that I'm running, I try to run like as minimal Pokemon as I can get away with. So I've only got the 8 in there. So a lot of times I'll have all my base Pokemon, and the Pokeballs won't really do anything, but they will reshuffle your deck. So if you do the Pokedex, you can look at your next 3 draws. If they're not good, you could Pokeball and shuffle up what you're going to get next. So it's like there's been so many turns where it's like I'm holding a Sabrina or a Koga or an X speed, or I've got 2 of one of those things and I'm just not going to use them. Like the Pokedex, I'll actually use that like every time it's in my hand. There's not really any reason for me to like just hang on to that and build myself up to get like red carded.
Yeah.
But I like it. I've been having a lot of fun. Like it is kind of hard sometimes to get into other decks. Like I feel extremely lucky with a lot of the pulls that I've gotten, that I've been able to make a lot of diverse decks. Like I can run not like the perfect version of anything, but like I've got 2 Mewtwo EXs, Charizards, and Pikachus. So I can run like all 3 of those decks. Now I've got Greninjas, I've had Weezings, I've got Dragonites. Like I could play a lot of the stuff. I can't really do anything grass because I don't have any Erica cards, and I'm just trying not to craft anything. I crafted Sabrinas. I built myself 2 Sabrinas because it's like they're necessary for being able to play basically. But like apparently the Venusaur deck is like in the A tier, but without any Ericas, there's just not really a point to playing it.
Yeah, I've got everything I would need for the Venusaur deck. I need one more EX actually, but I've got the Executors, Executes, all of the Bulbasaur, Ivysaur, all that good stuff, and then I do have the Ericas as well that I've pulled. I've had a lot of good pulls. So I've told you, like the other day, I had I want to say like 4 or 5 EX pulls. It was kind of
Mhm.
gross. I had like an Articuno, two Zapdos, I think that I pulled, and like some other stuff. So yeah. Oh, and a Venusaur and a
Nice.
Blastoise. So
I like
yeah,
the art on the new Venusaur for the solo event.
man, I have not. The only thing I've pulled is Jigglypuff and Haunter. Literally the only thing I've pulled in like 8 different promo packs.
Really? So you haven't
Yes.
gotten any Greninjas or the Venusaurs?
Oh no, I got one Greninja. Yeah, one Greninja, and then the rest is Jigglypuff and Haunter.
Mhm.
That's literally all I've pulled. No Venusaur.
Yeah.
So you would think by now I would, but no. And then I did learn something by the way. So
Mhm.
if you're playing and you're in a match and you're like, you know you're gonna lose. If you just concede, it doesn't eat up the little thing.
Oh, even if you lose, it doesn't. It only eats up your stamina if you win the match.
Oh, really? Okay. I didn't
Yeah,
know
so,
that.
like, you could go in, you could, like, put some Jigglypuffs in a deck, do the sing thing to do the trigger to put a Pokemon asleep for I think it's, like, the 2nd or 3rd level,
Yeah.
and then concede the match, and you can, like, trigger that condition for
Oh, nice.
whatever that is.
Yeah, I still got to do that one specifically. So,
Yeah. So, like, if you just set your phone on auto battle to just, like, grind out the wins, every time it loses, it doesn't cost you any stamina.
hmm. Okay, good to know. I didn't know that. I
Mhm.
only knew about the conceding part. And I was just off of a whim. I was like, oh, I'm not going to win this. Screw it. I'm not going to bother with it. And then, yeah, ended up going
And
through.
then, this week, I've been playing Bug Fables. Haha. You
So
didn't
I
think it would get
see.
done, but it's getting there. I'm, like, 7 hours in almost. I have been doing streams. I don't announce them. They're on Twitch, and I don't have any audio from me. You could check it out at Twitch/no one you'd know, I guess. And then now I've got that linked over to our YouTube so that I can upload all those contents. I just need to get the first one re-uploaded, and then we'll start putting those up for you guys to watch. But so far, so good. It's a lot of fun. I do find myself screwing up the combat a lot. It's just like Paper Mario, where you've got like timed things, and it's like I'm hitting the wrong buttons or whatever. But it is a lot more kind of in depth. So it like in Paper Mario, you've got your Mario character and your partner. And if you want to swap the turn order, that like eats up that character's turn unless you have a badge on for it most of the time. Um, and in this game, like you have 3 characters, so that's one more. You can either like change who is like in the front and in the middle and in the back, or you can just move whose turn it is and keep everybody in the same order. You can pass your turn to somebody else so that they can act twice, but like every time a person acts, they do like less damage because they build up like exhaustion or something. I don't know what it's called. The badges are fun. They kind of are a little bit more manipulative and a little bit less just like, oh, here's like a whole new skill that's just jumping in a different way or allows you to jump on a different thing or has a jump that does a different status effect. They're a little bit more like, oh, if your character's low on health, they can act twice. Or if they get poisoned, they get an extra point of defense. Or it makes one specific character, whenever you successfully do a block, will automatically do 1 point of damage to whomever was attacking him. So I've been kind of messing around with like the medal system a little bit. I'm about 3 chapters in. I think there's like 8 chapters total. So I'm in the Bee Kingdom now, starting to get into a little bit more of like our characters' backstories, which is fun. You've got Kabu, who's like this kind of like brave, honorable, stalwart, kind of like I think he's like a Hercules beetle. He looks like a green kind of like Power Ranger or Common Rider sort of type. And then you've got Vi or V. She's a bee. So now we're kind of like into her section. She kind of came back to the hive after fleeing and becoming an adventurer at the beginning of the game. And she uses like this bee boomerang or beamerang that this weird scientist made and is like upgrading for you. And she kind of is the greedy character, and the one who has like a heal ability and ranged attack. And then you've got Leaf, who is the third character that on the adventure that Leaf and Vi and Kabu started, run into Leaf in the first chapter. He's like a moth that was like caught in this web, and you rescued him, but it seems like he's been there actually for like a long time, because like you come back to town and he's got memories of all these people that are old now and remember him, and talks about the past and stuff, and it's all mysterious. He can use magic. So far, very interesting story. Cool setting. Very reminiscent of Paper Mario and art style and kind of the humor, combat. I'm liking it a lot. I'm hoping that I will keep driving this forward and get it done, hopefully before Christmas, but we'll just say before New Year's.
All right. All right. Well, I mean, for all of our viewers and listeners, still prepare to punishment. Let us know.
No faith.
Yeah, no faith. No faith. I mean, Ryan has, over the last 5 years, kind of cemented himself as an individual that does not finish games. So, I mean, the odds are in our favor to get him a punishment. What it will be, I'm not sure yet. But I did see the Bluey video game was on sale
I
for
hear
Black
that one's pretty
Friday.
good.
Oh,
Actually,
so
I saw a speed run of it.
So then you might actually like that. All right, we can't do that game. I don't know.
Stop giving me blue dog games, John. Is that all you've got? Can you think of anything else?
There might be a red dog game out there. I can look.
Oh, Clifford. Bring on Clifford. Yeah, I'm sure that'll change everything.
As your dog walks behind you. Yeah, he's going over to see the little mat or whatever, the Full Metal Alchemist mat. So
he's looking at the cat food. Ein, get out of there. It's my
and
dog Ein. He's the corgi. He's named after the Cowboy Bebop dog.
There we go. It can give you a really bad Cowboy Bebop game.
Yeah, I'm sure there's one of those. I would love it.
There are. Actually, if we can mod your PS2 to play Japanese games, which, yeah, we could talk about that real quick as part of that inflation, deflation this week. Your PS2 not wanting to output video or whatever it may be.
Well, no, I don't know that that's it. I actually think it's this TV, because it was giving me issues with the Xbox the other day. It won't go in and change the input. Like, eventually I was able to get it to detect that there was something else plugged into HDMI 2, but like as far as the AV or the composite cables, I can't get it to read them. And I'm pretty sure that I've played that PS2 on this TV because I borrowed that Gundam game from you, the Zeonic Front.
Have you tried connecting
that up?
Have you tried connecting it to TV downstairs?
I've got that other TV that I got back from you in the garage downstairs. I could try that one, but I don't think any of our other TVs in the house have like composite cables on them anymore.
No, they all still should. Like my Bravia that I bought not too long ago has composite cables in the back.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I just assumed they didn't anymore.
Oh, maybe it doesn't, but yeah, mine does. I don't have any. And your TV's older than mine, a couple years older than mine.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, because you got a Bravia as well, didn't you?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it has in the back. It's got like the red, green, blue. So I mean, you could
look.
Yeah, you can actually use, as long as it has a yellow slot. If it doesn't have like the red and white, you could still put in like the yellow, and then put your green and blue. You would put like your red and white into those. I think it's been a while, but either way, give it a shot on there. If it doesn't work,
Josh is trying to make me look bad that I didn't play the game this week. He's like, you've got all kinds of TVs that could do this.
No, if it ends up being a PlayStation 2, let me know, and maybe we could switch out the little chip in the back.
Yeah, we'll check it out.
Be a fun project. All right. Well, talking about like deals and stuff earlier, Black Friday sales and Cyber Monday, all of the same. There's no difference really in those two holidays, I guess we could say, in sales. So just want to kind of chat about it, and maybe it's just me, maybe others are seeing this as well, but I thought the sales were lackluster, like in general, and they have been for a few years now. It almost feels like these games go on sale, so you have like this general FOMO situation where you like have to buy it because you think it's a great deal, but maybe it's not. So I'll give you an example. That would be God of War, right? The game's been $70 for some time, and I felt, be worth it to get a new copy. It's on sale. Well, then I looked on GameStop, and they've got it used for $30 all day long for Ragnarok. So made no sense to me. I was like, well, I got it new, so it's cool. I don't have to deal with the whole GameStop situation and go hunt a used copy because I am getting a new one. But theoretically, I could have waited. I didn't have to get it at Target when I saw it. Same thing with Ronin. Rise of a Ronin was $30 new. I could have gone on eBay and got it for like 40 used right now. Now, yes, it's saving $10 to get it, but I'm not going to play it right away. It might
Mhm.
be 4 or 5 months, or maybe I will just to play it. But you know, that's a game where I probably could have waited and I would have got it cheaper down the road anyways versus a new copy. So, and then there's games like Silent Swan. This one, of course, was cheap, so I just wanted to get it anyways. Figured I'd play it regardless. Um, Armello, I have no idea. It's Sodesco is a you know team behind that, so that's why I grabbed it. I like their games. And then Tomb Raider, I actually have been planning on playing this game. Finally got it at a decent price, and so that's why I grabbed it. But I see a lot of other games at $5 off, $6 off, $10 off, whatever it may be. And you're just looking and you're like, that's not even that great of a deal. Like I see that sale consistently throughout the course of a year. So why would I get it at this point in time? So I don't know, man. Just kind of spouting off here. Like, was there anything you had your eyes on that you felt it's
I mean,
worthwhile? Or
during this time of year, a lot of YouTubers I watch, they put up videos talking about like all the sales. And like right now, for example, I've been scrolling while you were talking through the Games Radar posted best Black Friday gaming deals of 2024. And I mean, you're right. I mean, a lot of this stuff is like, all right, $20 off of Silent Hill 2. Yeah, sure. That's cool. I
I actually
guess.
saw that for $30 at multiple stores.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
that
So
game
it's
just came
not
out.
even the
So
best
that's
deal there.
Yeah, that's actually a decent deal at $30. I mean, if you were like desperately wanting to play it right now, then yeah,
Mhm.
like why pay
Oh,
70
I guess
bucks?
it's out of stock at Walmart for $30. That's why this is the best deal they have up here now.
Gotcha.
And then
Yeah.
$10 off Astrobot, $40 off Skull and Bones, which nobody wants. So I mean, give it away already. um, and then like old games, like I mean, Final Fantasy 16, it's not that old. It's a year old, but it's like $30. I mean, that's what I would expect. The best thing is usually this time of the year, memory. If you're trying to buy SD cards or upgrade your internal storage or whatever.
Which I did
um
actually.
you know those are
Yeah.
always good to do this time of year.
I
um
upgraded to I got a 14 terabyte Exos hard drive that I installed. So it's an enterprise based drive that I put into my PC. And so Bad Axe is like, place to put all the Game Deflators content lives on that drive.
and then it can kind of be telling, I think, sometimes. So like the PSVR 2 is $250 off, bundled with the Call of the Mountain. Like the Quest is just a better device, and it's totally freestanding. So it's like, and they're not supporting this. So, never spend $600 on it, but spend $350 on it if you want it to like preserve and have forever, but don't expect to get a lot out of it.
Yeah.
I guess PS5 Slim, that's down from 450 to 375 at Walmart. I mean, that seems like a good deal. Like if you don't want to get the Pro and you can get the Slim for like a good deal, that's fine. But the issue there you're running into again is nobody probably has stock of the disk drive at this point. So you're going basically all digital on that front. I do recommend the Backbone controller. I've got one of those. You could get the Backbone controller. That's like $60 down from 100. That seems like a good deal for me. If you like gaming on the go.
But
But yeah,
see,
most of this other stuff, it's just, yeah, 10, $20 off this game or that game. And it's like, I guess, but it
but even the
doesn't light me
Backbone,
up.
I've seen the Backbone for like $40 at places this year. Like I've seen, and that's the thing. I've seen a lot of these sales throughout because I'm always looking for sales on
Mhm.
games, always. And so I see a lot of these games and products go on sale throughout the course of the year, and then Black Friday kicks around, and I'm like, there's nothing here that's like been any different of a price point than what I've seen. So like Mario games, for example, oh yeah, $35. Cool. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to like Woot or Amazon and seen like or eBay and seen those games already at 35. I was gonna get Tears of the Kingdom. I had it in my Walmart cart and figured, okay, cool, 30 bucks. Like, why not? I went on eBay just to double check 30, $35 all day long, like
Mhm.
across the board for a used copy. So made no sense. And, obviously I got Rise of a Ronin, but that's a game I've legitimately wanted for a long time anyways. So it's not like with those Zelda games, I feel like I can pick up those Mario games and stuff locally pretty cheap for the most part. Something like Rise of the Ronin, I'm not going to find locally for a cheap price point. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, okay. So it's not just me then. The sales seem
I
kind of
mean, it's just
lackluster.
kind of like one of those things where they try to get everything hyped up, but I don't know. It's like you said, sales kind of happen all year. It's
Yeah, you
hard.
just
And
got to
like
catch them.
most people say, like the best deals for TV are like during March Madness, and the best time to buy a laptop is back to school. So it's like there's other times of the year where they, try to do the same thing on specific items also.
Yeah. Um, what was I going to say? I had something in mind I was going to bring up, but yeah, it's out. I don't know. I forgot. But yeah, okay. Oh no, it was how these deals like, and also Black Friday is no longer this, hey, it's just one day only, all these deals are happening now. It's like Black Friday savings week or month. Like these deals have been going on for like
Yeah.
2 weeks now. And then they're like, oh, it's Cyber Monday. The exact same stuff is just still on sale, rebranded as Cyber Monday.
Well, and like Prime sale was just like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. It was like
And they do that like 2 or
November.
3 times a year now, don't they?
Yeah, it's like they have Prime Day like in June, October, November, and then like I think it's springtime. So
Mhm.
yeah, that or just Prime savings period. I don't know, but yeah, no, that just happened not too long ago because I got some deals back then too. I mean, it's sales. That's all what it comes down to, right? It's just marketing sales. Um, and unfortunately, it does have like a FOMO type effect. But there are, certain games here, would I have purchased it at full price? Whatever it was going for on like VGP or Amazon? Probably not. So getting like the extra 10, 20 bucks off on some of these is great. Even if a used copy would have been that, I'm a little more inclined to say, cool, like I got a new copy. It could stay sealed
Well,
for
and
a
like
while.
newer things too, like uh I saw Zelda on that list, and that's like only a month old. So,
Yeah.
good on that for having a sale already.
Yeah. Well, depends on it's
It's
selling well, I
Nintendo. I
guess.
mean, this is the only low price it'll ever go to. Next
You know,
year
bel
you'll see the same deal.
believe it or not, Target has a lot of those games on sale pretty frequently,
Mhm.
like the Nintendo titles. Because I've seen like Breath of the Wild down like 30 bucks a few times too.
Man,
So
I
man,
can't
that's
find any of those Zelda Game and Watches. I wanted to try getting one for my niece, but I don't
my
see them in the stores anymore. I
my
think they
Walmart
must have
had
all
a
gotten cleared out.
yeah, my Walmart had a ton of them not too long ago. So I don't know. Next time you come out here, go check out that one. So all right, well, let's dive into our first thing, talking about sales. THQ says that Epic Mickey, I mixed all those together, rebrushed, sales are slower than expected. So this is from My Nintendo News. I mean, here's the reason I brought it up. Is this a situation where we say, is it a matter of the game just not having any demand and that's why sales are bad? And they just, I don't know who in the right mind said, let's go ahead and redo Epic Mickey. Or is it a matter of remasters and remakes, like just fatigue from those games? And so that's initially how I came into this. And, we don't have any figures on specifically Epic Mickey, but we can look at things like the Silent Hill 2 remake. In 3 days at its release, that remake sold over 1 million copies. That's not too bad, right? And that's actually better than the other entries. And then Last of Us 2, the remaster of Last of Us, actually, so not Last of Us 2, but the Last of Us remaster sold 18 million units, which is pretty good. So, I mean, I'm not sure. Like that's in December of 2023 specifically for that. Um, I'm kind of sick of remasters and remakes, to be honest. Like I continually hear people clamoring for like I mentioned last week, Bloodborne remakes or Bloodborne remasters. Every time somebody's talking to me about an older video game, oh yeah, that should get a remaster. It's like it was on PS3. It's not that old.
Mm-hmm.
Like Lollipop Chainsaw is a good example of that too. Like, did we need a remaster or remake of Lollipop Chainsaw? No, like we really didn't. The price point, yes, can get out of hand for a lot of those games, and that's why a lot of people are asking for it. But is there a necessity to create that remaster remake? I think
We
no.
need that Rule of Rose remake.
No, we don't. No, we don't. The top 3 horror games on PS2, what? We don't need to touch those. They could just stay as is. But yeah, like that type of stuff plummets collection value. And so I think a lot of collectors like myself see that and say, man, we don't want to see this game like remaster remade because it's kind of that pride and joy in that collection, right? Like having that high end game. And then something like Marvel versus Capcom Arcade, whatever the hell it is, with all the different games that comes out, that completely plummeted the MVC2 game, right, from
Mm-hmm.
its high price point. So I could see like the financial aspects on as to why you wouldn't want it to happen. I can also see the reasoning that I've always brought up of I would rather be studios truly focus on like new IPs and new content versus rehashing the same old stuff from a decade ago or 5 years ago, whatever it may be. In the case of Naughty Dog, shorter time periods, it feels like. Um, but yeah, I don't know. What do you think, man? I truly think that this is really a matter of nobody just asked for Rebrushed. Like it just kind of came out of
Yeah, I
nowhere.
mean, I looked it up and it said that the original did 1.3 million in its first month. So I mean, that's not a bad number. I mean, some studios aren't going to be happy with that, but I mean, over a million in your first month, like, I mean, that's not nothing. Um, but for the remake, I just feel like if the game was only in that much demand when it was a brand new thing on the Wii, like you need to scale your expectations back. Like a bunch of people have a Switch, yeah, but it's not the same kind of situation as like when the Wii was out and it was like, oh, here's this like motion control Mickey Mouse game that like everybody and literally their grandma will be able to play, and it's just not that kind of market anymore. And I just don't know, like maybe this had to do with like, oh, Mickey Mouse is like in the public conscious again because of public domain and these Mickey horror movies that are coming out, like let's cash in on that. And if everybody's talking about Mickey, let's give them something Mickey. It'll be way easier to do this than to try to make a new Mickey game. So I mean,
But could you
that's basically the pitch for any remake is like, hey, let's do something safe that will make money. And those are the two objectives. So
but
you're not really giving, a lot of creativity. You're not really giving a lot of what people want. You're just trying to cash in on, whatever is popular at the time. And it's very industry of them. But yeah, this just I never think really had a chance because nobody was really asking for this title. But like in general, I think remakes and remasters have a place, but I think what they should be for is not for redoing the best games. Like you don't need to redo The Last of Us. Like it was already like the best game when it came out, and it should still be appreciable as is. But like maybe for some things that like didn't quite make it, like they were like really successful, like cult classic kind of game, but like, maybe the controls were just a little janky or something just kind of held it back. And it's like, you know what? I bet if we took another crack at that, we could open that game up and then turn it into a franchise and take it somewhere from there. Like, I don't think anybody would really be mad if you like tried to give something new life that goes beyond what it had before and isn't just trying to purely cash in on that reputation.
Well, and so I see THQ here, and the first thing that comes up to me, or that I think of, is Red Faction, right? Like,
I wonder why.
yeah, well, great game when it came out, highly reviewed on PS2. Is that a game that I think would be successful today? Probably, if you were
Well,
to
they did Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered. I think that was earlier this year.
I don't remember it. Like, it's not something I caught, but no, that's Red Faction Guerrilla. That's not Red Faction, right?
I mean, it's in the same lineage.
Well, yeah, it's in the same lineage, but like Red Faction 1 takes place on Mars, Red Faction 2 takes place on Earth, Red Faction Guerrilla, I think, takes place
What
on,
happened to your whole Mars month?
well, it's a Mars-based company. It's tied in. Yeah. So Red Faction, yeah. So either way, and then Red Faction Armageddon takes place, I believe, on Mars again. So yeah, as far as I know, Guerrilla isn't tied to Red Faction
Oh,
1.
what?
Yeah, what are you
Never
looking at?
mind. That game came out in 2018. I'm
Yeah.
dumb. Wow, that
But
was
yeah,
6 years ago?
yeah, that's why I was like, "What are you talking about?" Um, so yeah, Red Faction, cool. If a remake or remaster came out, I think that could be looked at, highly compared to Epic Mickey Rebrushed. And you brought up like, okay, well, it's Mickey. Maybe we want to, take advantage of like popularity, things that are happening with the domain situation. They could have done Epic Mickey 3. You know, you would have been able to capture all those people that had played it back then, whoever played number 2, plus all the little kids that are going to want to play it as well. Very easily could have gotten away, I think, with Epic Mickey 3 versus a rebrushed version of a Wii game that nobody was
Yeah.
asking for. So, not that anybody was asking for Epic Mickey 3 either, but I don't know. I feel like that would have been a better option. Like, let's redo the first one. So,
Yeah, I'm sorry. I tripped myself out with this remastered coming out in July 2018. Like I remembered that was a thing like as soon as you said Red Faction cuz like I've never played any of them. So like the jokes about the remastered edition was like what jumped into my mind first, and I thought that was like literally like in the last like year or two. I can't believe that was 6 years ago. What happened?
that was before we even started recording.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah, didn't we start? We started in 2019.
Was it 19?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, hold on. We've
'Cause
got 307 episodes. So it was like either right when we just started or um, a year after we started or before we started.
Yeah, we
I
started
don't know.
in like a September. So it was either a couple months before or almost a year into.
Yeah, I think
But
this is 5
anyways,
years. Either way. Go on. Go on.
yeah, I don't know. It's not going to stop. They're going to keep remastering things. They're going to keep trying to cash in those paychecks, and people are going to keep buying those games and making the cycle continue. So there's
Yeah, I
no
just
need
see
to
it.
fight it. Just only buy the ones you want or the ones that John and people like him have made too expensive to afford.
Yeah, it's funny. I was thinking like, oh, Tomb Raider, but this is a fresh reboot for this one. That's not even like that's not a remaster or anything. Um, so yeah. All right, well, let's go into your article for this week. I think yours is better
So
personally.
Xbox's handheld console has a huge ace up its sleeve if rumors are true. This is by Jake S. at Game Rant. So Xbox, we heard some talk, some chitter chatter a while ago that they would be wanting to break into the handheld space ahead of their next big box release. And it seemed like a pretty good idea. I mean, the Steam Deck has been so wildly successful that there's tons of other consoles out there now. You've got like the ROG Ally and um, all kinds of
Every
other ones that I can't
everybody
remember.
has one. LG
Yeah,
has one.
there's a
Yeah.
ton of them. So it's a hugely competitive space, this PC handheld market. And it seemed like, well, you know what? Xbox, they're losing the console wars. Like maybe this would be a good place for them to jump into. And it seems like it might. So the theory here is that if Xbox can pull all their cards together and put out like a good, powerful handheld system, competitively priced, all the things that they need to make it work in the market, they can not only use their Xbox stuff, but since they are Microsoft, they can open it up and maybe have a really good like Windows mobile kind of experience to allow you to use other launchers like the Steam OS, or not the Steam OS, but like the Steam platform, Epic platform. And as we know, there's a bunch of PS5 games that are now on some of those platforms. And who knows, maybe Sony makes their own launcher down the road. So if you could play everything but Nintendo on your Xbox handheld PC gaming device, then maybe that will give them the factor to where it's like, hey, hey, we put out some of our games on PlayStation, but you could play literally anything on this, and then you could play your Xbox games when you don't have this on, whatever else you've got. So that's kind of their in-game gold here. But I mean, at this point, as crowded as the market is, um, Sony already has the PlayStation Portal out. Up until a couple of weeks ago, that was just for playing in your bed or in the room that your PlayStation wasn't in. Now that it can do streaming, well, I mean, they kind of got there first again. So really the market is so crowded. I just don't know if Xbox can pull from uh being in last place in the console wars to being in last place in the handheld wars. Like it doesn't seem like a really productive shift for them.
It depends on how they market it, right? Like if it's a Microsoft generally creates an affordable piece of hardware. I mean, when you look at their Surface tablets, for example, like in comparison to some of the other stuff in the market, like that's a fairly affordable product, right? So if they can make a handheld that comes in with affordability first, and then still is able to hit the key areas it needs to on features, then they may actually have a decent product on their hands. They just got to market it correctly. Um, I would be interested in a Microsoft handheld. If it's coming in at a couple $100 and something that I can dive into and just get Xbox, Game Pass onto, that'd be pretty cool. But also have the PC now as well. So, you know, is it necessary? Probably not. And to your point, super crowded market. So I find it interesting that they're diving in now. And this isn't like console generations, right? Like there's always a new handheld, it feels like coming out every single year, given the type of hardware versus PlayStation's like once every 8 years. Nintendo, God knows how long, right? Like once every 10 years, it seems. And then Microsoft with whatever they have coming out of Xbox. So it's a little different. And when you say, like, oh, well, here's the power of our new console, right? Like they're going to be underpowered in the span of a year, anyways, it seems.
Well,
So,
and if not underpowered, then underpowered in another sense, like Steam or Valve hasn't made a Steam Deck 2 because they're waiting for a leap in technology. Because
yeah.
if you try to push the graphics and performance anymore, you're dealing with like an hour of battery life or something. So it's
Yeah.
like you need a better power to performance ratio in order to make these devices like even worth taking out of your house. Otherwise, you've
Yeah.
got a Game Gear situation, and nobody wants that.
Attached into your wall. Yeah. And then as far as the PlayStation component is concerned, I would be curious to see if Sony would kind of, I don't know, give a middle finger to Microsoft and say, like, nope, these games will not have the ability to play on like X devices. I don't know if that's a way, if that's something they can do, if it's already on like,
I mean,
Steam.
Microsoft makes Windows, so I don't think Sony's going to out Windows permissions them.
I don't know. I'm just kind of curious, like, if that's something that they would look to do,
I don't know that
you
they
know?
would be able to. Like, if
I
it
don't know.
runs on Windows, then it runs on Windows.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking, like, is there anything Sony can do other than like forcing people to make a PlayStation Network account? I mean,
I mean,
that's
that doesn't stop you either.
no, it doesn't. I know. I'm just curious if there's any sort of like what Sony might do, right? For this. Would they
I
like
think as long
delist
as
it?
Sony's selling games, I think that they would be fine with that because, like, the reality is it's a niche market. Like, it's not as mainstream as like the competition leads it to be. Like, I think that a lot of the time it really just comes down to what's the new hotness and how many units are they even making? Like Steam probably made a ton of units because there was like a long time where there was like a big backup, weight log for getting that. But I mean, the same thing with like the Playdate. I mean, the Playdate was sold out for like a year or something. So now you can just get one. But, whenever anything's new and hot, how many do they make? How long do they plan on supporting that? Like, I bet a lot of those kind of more small company ones that are really expensive are probably not made in big giant batches. They
Yeah.
probably sell as many as they need to, because as long as they've got pre-orders that they can just fulfill, they're fine with doing business that way. And then they'll come out with the next newest hottest one the year later. Whereas like Microsoft and Sony are certainly going to sit down and be like, okay, we need to make a device that we could sell for 5 or 6 years. How do we do that? How do
Yeah.
we subsidize that? Because unlike those other companies, they have the ability to subsidize with games. But you're going to have a lot less so if you're not forcing them to only buy your platform stuff. So like if Microsoft really wants to open it up, I mean, if they're subsidizing the sale of all these handhelds and then everybody's just using it to play Steam games, then they're not going to make any money.
Yeah, and that's, it might be one of those situations where maybe you get like when you purchase it like 3 months of Game Pass free.
Probably something like that.
Does that hurt them? No, but it gives that person like, "Oh, it's 3 months of Game Pass," like, just enough of a taste that they're, "All right, I'm gonna
Well,
continue
that
buying
is
this."
a huge thing actually. If it has native ability to do Game Pass, because it's like I could play I was playing like I think I talked about it on the podcast before. I was playing Warhammer Space Marine 2 on my phone a couple of weeks ago because they opened it up with the streaming on xCloud. But there's no app. So you need to like go to your browser, go to the xCloud streaming site, sign into your account, then you can connect to the stream, then you can go in and start playing your game. Whereas if you had like just like Game Pass as like a launcher that you could just open up and like whatever you had installed on the device, you could just play. Also, it'd be a much bigger screen. Like that's the thing. Phones are coming up. Phones are coming up hot. Like they perform really well. You can play a lot of good stuff on a phone, but the screen is just, it's still not where you want like little tiny, in-game text and stuff. It doesn't feel as good there as it does, on a bigger screen.
Yeah. Well, another game that didn't feel so good on a bigger or little screen is Red Faction for PS2. So I bring that up because it was actually released on the N Gauge as well as mobile.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw
Yeah.
that. I was like, oh, no way. I always wanted an Engage. Do you have one, John?
No, I always saw them, but I never got into it. So, before we dive into all of that, I'll just kind of quickly say this was very well reviewed on PS2 and PC with poor reviews on mobile and N-Gage. I didn't
Mhm.
realize it was on N-Gage and mobile until recently. So, yeah, interesting little tidbit of information. But Red Faction was developed by Volition. It was published by THQ. It was designed by Alan Lawrence, and it was released in May of 2001. It is a first person shooter with reception on PS2 and PC between 8 to 9 out of 10.
So, Red Faction, in 2075, the miners of Mars rise up to fight back for their freedoms and rights. You play as Parker, um, pretty casual name, and take up arms to join the Red Faction rebellion against the Ultor Corporation. Red Faction's mostly well known for its Geomod engine when looking back at it, but I never played it. I guess some people have like a pretty good opinion of the stories and everything, but mostly what I remember hearing from the reviews and stuff I've watched. Again, I will plug him. Noah Caldwell Gervais has a good video breaking down the series, talking about it. But the Geomon engine sounds cool. Like it was basically a technology that they made in the game engine where you could destroy terrain, and kind of like gave you the ability to kind of create some of your own problem solving solutions to situations. And like, example, giant armored transport vehicle trying to shoot at you, well, just blow up the bridge underneath it so that it just goes away. You don't even have to blow it up itself.
Yeah, this game. So just kind of the quick bit of information on the back end. So the overall concept is that you're playing as Parker, who goes to Mars to kind of start this new life based on promises from Ultor Corporation on all these great benefits and things of being a miner for minerals, because the Earth has been running out of its own minerals. So this corporation takes over Mars, as corporations would do, to try and mine minerals and then sell it, of course. And so, some of the stuff that's happening on Mars is deplorable conditions where everybody is treated like dirt. There's disease going rampant called the plague, which, of course, that's what all diseases are called, apparently. And then just like inhumane conditions, like they're beating people, they're starving them, like anything bad that you could think about that would happen on a remote planet from mining is what's happening here. And so, as you're in one of your normal days as a miner, there is a miner who actually kills one of the guards, and then that starts up this rebellion, and then shit hits the fan, basically. So one of the cool pieces, like Ryan had mentioned, was a geomod engine that's tied into this. So you notice while playing a game, like if there's a symbol on a wall of like the Red Faction Rebellion, if you shoot a rocket launcher, for example, or throw C2 on that wall, or C4, I mean, it will blow up. And oftentimes there are like hidden things that you can find, right? Like different weapons, different bits of ammo, things that are necessary to help you kind of continue through the game. If there is a locked door somewhere and you don't have the key card, that's all cool. Blow up the wall around it and sneak on by. So that's some of what they're looking at when it came to
The
Geomod.
door you can't blow up. The wall around it, not so much.
Hey man, big steel door, probably not going to work, but stone, sure thing. So, you'd think that the plating would go all the way across, but it
Yeah.
doesn't.
We're
Um,
only going to reinforce this part. They'll never choose to go through the wall. What animals?
so I don't think they intended on them having rocket launchers either. But the interesting thing about the
Well, they're
Geomod
miners,
component,
so obviously they have rocket launchers.
well, it picks and
It's the
axes and
first
stuff.
thing you make in Minecraft. A
Yeah,
rocket launcher.
true, true. So the cool thing about the Geomod is they were actually considering making the entire game like breakable, like in different areas. But then they decide, you know what, let's not do this because it's gonna, for one thing, technically it's gonna be very difficult to do that, to be able to develop for that scale of like geomodding. And then the other thing is that they wanted to keep things a little more linear with the story, which I agree was the right decision by allowing just certain things to be blown up, and having those hidden spaces. I think that was very important in how they manage that. But overall, I really do enjoy this game. I felt that the story, when I did play it in its entirety years ago, was fantastic. And then the multiplayer itself is one of my favorite multiplayers of all time. It's got up to 4 player capabilities on multiplayer, different types of levels, of course, that you can use for a battle, not battle royale, but kind of battle royale like you would with Halo. It does have destructive environments within the multiplayer. Has AI bots, which are actually pretty competitive, which is kind of nice. So if you're you and somebody else playing, there's not a whole ton of like, let me look at your screen or screens while you're playing in that period of time, because you do have to worry about these AI bots as well, kind of coming out from nowhere. So that was always a lot of fun. And then even in some of the levels, there's hidden stuff. My brother and I had a specific level that we would play in where it blew up into this random room. And so sometimes we would just play the two of us and we'd load it with a bunch of C4 and then just like make a giant explosion when it was all said and done.
Hmm.
Just little quirky things like that to have fun with the game. So it actually got to a point for me that when I started playing other games like Killzone when it came out on PlayStation 2, I was super disappointed in the quality of that, like, you know, um, same screen, multiplayer with my brother compared to Red Faction. We always found ourselves going back to Red Faction to play that multiplayer just because it was a lot more fun to us and faster pace as well. And then the controls for the game, I've always felt these are very clean controls for video game. I never had any issues with it. And just like thinking more about it makes me kind of want to play through 2, 3, and 4 because I do own them. But I thought they were very clean, easy to use controls. Graphics were fantastic throughout the games. The environments were great. Definitely felt like you were a miner on Mars. Um, and like I said, the story was good, and the overall ambiance of the game is fantastic as well. So I personally would heavily recommend it, and that 9 out of 10 score is about right for me. Any other
Yeah.
thoughts you want to layer on there?
No, I mean, having having not played it, I will remain light on my judgments, but from the opinions of other people that I respect and John, I will say that this game is probably fine. It's probably a fine game. There's a lot of fine PS2 games that are definitely good for some people.
You know, there's actually a review out there that said fine. That's a fine game on the PlayStation 2.
It's a fine game you got there, Miner.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Uh,
anyways,
and just so
brass
we're
tacks.
clear, Ryan did say people that talk about games and he respects, and then he said my name. So that's on recording now that Ryan
Yeah.
respects me. Continue.
Complete inbox copy will run you $947. That peaked at $989 back in February of 2022. That is trending up. Loose copy will run you $590. That peaked at $831 in June of 2023. That's also trending up. You can get it digitally on the PSN store for $14.99, or you could get it digitally on Steam for $1.99.
I mean, it's worth it. If you're a PS2 collector or you like to play PS2
Here's the
games,
game.
that is
I
my
forgot it was
copy.
right behind me.
It's my copy he has there.
I want to take a
That's
look here. I want to look at this manual.
that's my
Manual is
original
always going
copy.
to be the selling point on a game
Yeah.
like this.
That is my OG copy that I bought from the shelf. Not a used copy from GameStop.
Yeah, I like
But
this manual. It's got like pictures of all the guns and
Mhm.
descriptions.
The railgun's my favorite.
That's everybody's favorite. I was watching
Yeah.
this video and some guy was complaining, saying one of the worst parts of the game is that when the enemies start using those, you just start getting blasted and you have like no idea where or when it's coming from.
Yeah. Yeah, and it has like a heat function on it, so you're just kind of like, if you just stay in a little corner, you can just see orange bodies. You're like, let's kill
Nice.
those. Yeah. Or if you get to a good point, we used to, with the AI bot, we would create like a tunnel that would go all the way to like the top of a level to where the AI wouldn't go, and then we would just kind of fire from up top there to kill all the AI and see
Oh,
who could
just
get
make
the
your
most
own like
kills.
sniper perch.
Yeah, basically. Yeah, it was always
Nice.
fun. Yeah. So all right, 947. I would say this game is deflated. I think $10, even $15 for a nice physical minty copy is worth it on PlayStation 2.
Perfect.
And then even at $2 on Steam, if you wanted to go that route, absolutely deflated. I think it is well worth a $2 purchase on Steam.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'll totally agree with that one. From everything I've seen and heard, it looks like a fine game. It looks like it's definitely deflated, and that yeah, grabbing a $10 copy of this game is not a bad move. Next time you're at like a convention or uh I don't know, used game store, and you're just like PS2 shooter. What haven't I played? $10, Red Faction. The Game Deflator said this was a good deal.
It is actually considered one of the best shooters on the PlayStation 2.
There we go.
So, yeah, totally worth it. All right. Well, I don't know what we got next week. We haven't or no, we're going to be doing probably like a triple threat throwdown, or
Oh,
maybe
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, one of those things. So we'll have one of those episodes up and running, and then of course we'll be back with 4 brand new games that we'll be focused on for the upcoming episodes. So those will be announced at some point in time. And of course, just a rehash. We are doing that giveaway still. That'll be completed sometime by the end of this week. We'll pick somebody out so you can subscribe to our YouTube, and that's how you have a chance to win this game. So that is episode 317 of the Game Deflators podcast. My name is John,
I'm Ryan.
and thanks for listening.